I didn't read 1,000 books. I didn't go on a retreat in the mountains. I just practiced 5 habits every single day for 7 days. And they changed the way I think, act, and lead my life. Not because they were new, but because they were real. In a world chasing hacks and dopamine hits, I chose simplicity, discipline, and silence. No magic pill, no guru talk, just 5 Stoic habits rooted in ancient blood and modern clarity. These aren't trends, these are timeless. They come from warriors, emperors, and philosophers, men who faced exile, betrayal, heartbreak, and death, and still chose reason over rage, virtue over victory, and action over excuses. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire while losing children and waging war. Epictetus was born a slave and still chose to train his mind like a warrior trains his sword. Seneca was ordered to take his own life and died with more dignity than most live with. So no, this isn't about self-help fluff. This is about self-mastery. It's about showing up when it's hard. It's about turning discipline into freedom and routine into armor. This is Stoicism in action. These 5 habits reshaped how I move through the world. And if you're ready to stop being a prisoner of your mind and start becoming the man you are meant to be, then you're in the right place. Welcome to Stoic Spirit. If you value strength over comfort, clarity over chaos, and truth over trends, hit that subscribe button and join thousands of others who are choosing the high path. Let's dive in. The first habit, the hour of power, wake up before the world does. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I am rising to do the work of a human being." That one sentence punched me in the gut, because deep down, I knew I wasn't rising to live, I was rising to react. Emails, texts, chaos, distractions. My mornings were passive, rushed, and unconscious. So I made one decision, wake up at 5 a.m. Not because successful people do it, not to feel superior, but because I wanted to own my day before the world could touch it. The first few mornings were brutal. My bed whispered comfort, my phone screamed distraction, but I fought it. And on day 3, something shifted. The silence at 5 a.m. is not empty, it's sacred. There's no pressure to perform, no noise, just you, your breath, and the cold truth of who you are without distraction. I didn't check my phone, I didn't open emails, I gave myself the first hour, movement, breathwork, journaling, a cold shower. I walked barefoot in the backyard just to feel the morning. I sipped my coffee in silence and planned my day with clarity, not panic. That 1 hour became my armor. While the world slept in, I was sharpening my mind, conditioning my body, and calming my emotions. And here's the thing. The benefits of waking up early have nothing to do with the clock. They come from intention. It's not about 5 a.m. It's about whether you start your day by choosing yourself or chasing the world. And that stillness, that sense of grounded presence, spilled into the rest of the day. I spoke slower. I made better decisions. I wasn't reacting, I was responding. And when the chaos came, because it always does, I was already centered. While others were scrambling, I had already trained, reflected, and set my path. It taught me something deeper. The first battle of the day is not with the world, it's with yourself. And when you conquer yourself in the morning, you don't bow to the world in the afternoon. So start small. Wake up just 30 minutes earlier. No phone, no input, just stillness. Ask yourself, what kind of man do I want to be today? And then, be him. The world will try to shake you. But if your first hour belongs to you, it won't succeed. There's another Stoic idea that hit me hard during these early mornings. Memento mori. Remember, you will die. Sounds dark, but it's liberating. When you see the morning as a gift, not a given, you stop wasting it. One sunrise, I stood outside watching the sky shift from black to gold. And I thought, how many more of these will I get? 5,000? 3,000? Less? That thought didn't depress me. It made the moment sacred. Waking up early wasn't just a productivity hack. It was a practice in presence, in gratitude, in remembering that each day is borrowed time, and that the best way to honor life is to live it on purpose. The second habit, daily discipline over dopamine. Do one hard thing every day. Seneca didn't sugarcoat it. He said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Brutal truth, and it hit me hard. Because if I was being honest, I wasn't exhausted, I was escaping. I chased the easy, comfort food, passive scrolling, feel-good videos. My days were full, but my soul was starving. So I made a rule. Every day I would do one hard thing. Something I didn't want to do. Something I would normally put off. One thing that forced me to override the voice that says, not now, maybe tomorrow. That voice is the enemy, and discipline is the sword. Some days the hard thing was a cold plunge. Other days it was sending that email I'd been avoiding. Showing up to the gym when I didn't feel like it. Having a tough but honest conversation. Each small act built something invisible but unbreakable. Mental toughness. And here's the Stoic truth. Discipline isn't about punishment. It's about power. The more you do what's hard, the easier life becomes. The less you need to feel motivated to take action. Your mind becomes a tool you command, not a mood you obey. One morning, I didn't want to run. I felt sluggish, drained. But I tied my shoes and ran anyway. And halfway through, my mind clicked into clarity. Not because of endorphins, but because I proved to myself again that I don't need permission to show up. That's what Stoicism trains you for. Acting in spite of resistance. What surprised me most was how this one habit started affecting everything else. I started speaking more directly. I stopped avoiding hard conversations. I noticed when I was hiding behind distractions, and I leaned in instead of backing away. Discipline wasn't just about doing things. It was reshaping my identity. And that's the secret nobody tells you. When you consistently do the thing you don't want to do, you become the person you've always wanted to be. So here's your daily test. Pick one thing that challenges you, one thing you've been avoiding, and do it. Write it down, cross it off, and do it again tomorrow. Start with something small. Maybe it's turning off your phone for an hour, taking a cold shower, or being brutally honest in your journal. Whatever it is, lean in. Your future self is watching. Small acts of courage practiced daily become the foundation of character. That's discipline, not dopamine. And the man who lives by discipline, he doesn't flinch when life hits back. The third habit, 10 minutes of inner war, stillness and journaling. I lit a candle, I sat in silence, and I asked myself 3 questions. What am I afraid of today? What am I avoiding? What would a Stoic do? It sounds simple, but don't mistake it for easy. Stillness isn't comfortable. It doesn't flatter your ego, it exposes it. The moment you sit in silence, the noise inside your mind gets louder. You start hearing the truth you've been drowning out with distractions. That's where journaling comes in, not as some fluffy, feel-good routine, but as a weapon, a tool of confrontation, a mental sword. When you pick up the pen with honesty, it cuts through illusion. It reveals the lies you've told yourself. It shows you the gap between who you say you are and how you actually live. Epictetus said, if you wish to improve, be content to appear clueless or stupid. That includes to yourself. Journaling forces you to face your weaknesses without running. One morning I wrote, I'm afraid of failing. Then I wrote, so I hide behind over-planning. That single sentence shattered my entire defense mechanism. And just like that, clarity began. Each morning, I gave myself 10 minutes. No agenda. Just write. Stream of consciousness, gratitude, questions, fear, strategy. Sometimes I wrote 2 lines, sometimes I filled 3 pages, but every session left me clearer, lighter, sharper. What began as an experiment turned into a sacred ritual. I realized, if I don't confront my thoughts, they control me. If I don't lead my emotions, they manipulate my actions. 10 minutes of honest reflection made me stronger than 2 hours of motivation videos ever could. And the best part? It's simple. No expensive tools, no complex rules, just a notebook, a pen, and your raw, unfiltered self. You want real growth? Sit with your thoughts before the world fills your head with theirs. If you're not sure where to start, try this journaling structure I use during my week. Prompt 1. What's weighing on my mind right now? Prompt 2. What is within my control today? Prompt 3. What virtue do I want to embody today? Courage, discipline, wisdom, or temperance? Answering these each morning gave me clarity, direction, and a target to aim at. And even when the day went sideways, I had something to return to. A compass I created in the quiet. Here's your challenge. Light a candle. Sit still. Write the answers to those 3 questions every morning for a week. Watch what happens when you stop running from your mind and start training it. If you've made it this far and you're finding value in this journey, take a second to hit the subscribe button. It's a small gesture, but it helps us keep creating videos like this, grounded in real philosophy and personal growth. Thank you for supporting Stoic Spirit. In a world that's addicted to overstimulation, Stoics chose the opposite, simplicity. And nowhere is this more powerful or more overlooked than in how we eat. We treat meals like pit stops, fast, distracted, mechanical. We eat while scrolling, typing, watching. Food becomes background noise. And then we wonder why we feel heavy, disconnected, ungrateful. So I made a change. I decided to eat like a soldier, with presence, with purpose, with reverence. No rushing, no screens, no multitasking. I prepared simple meals, eggs, oats, fruit, water, nothing fancy, but everything intentional. I sat down, took a few deep breaths, and focused entirely on the act of eating. At first it felt strange, almost too quiet. But then I started tasting food again. Not just chewing, but savoring. The warmth of the oatmeal, the sweetness of the berries, the crispness of cold water. It was like switching from black and white to full color. More importantly, I started noticing how food made me feel. Heavy, processed junk left me foggy. Clean, whole food left me focused. And because I was paying attention, I naturally ate less, but enjoyed more. No more overeating out of boredom. No more mindless snacking for emotional comfort. Just me, my plate, and full awareness. The act of mindful eating transformed a basic necessity into a daily meditation. A moment of gratitude, a practice of discipline. It reminded me that food is fuel, not escape, that nourishment can be sacred if you allow it to be. There was one evening I'll never forget. I was eating a bowl of rice and vegetables. No music, no distractions, just silence. And halfway through I realized I felt content, not just full, but peaceful. That kind of clarity doesn't come from the food itself. It comes from how you show up for it. So here's your challenge. For just one meal a day, eat like a warrior monk. No phone, no TV, no noise. Chew slowly, breathe between bites, taste every detail. Notice how your body feels. That single act of awareness can shift your relationship with food and with yourself. Because presence isn't just something you practice in meditation, it's something you bring into every corner of your life, including the kitchen. The fifth and final habit, digital detox. Because attention is freedom. You can't think clearly when your attention is scattered across 13 apps. You can't hear your own thoughts when every spare second is filled with someone else's. And you can't build a strong stoic mind if your eyes are constantly glued to a glowing screen. So I did something radical. I deleted social media from my phone for 7 days. No scrolling, no stories, no dopamine drip. Just silence. At first, it was unbearable. I'd reach for my phone without thinking, like a reflex. Waiting in line? Check Instagram. Feeling uncomfortable? Watch YouTube. Bored? Open TikTok. My mind had been conditioned to escape discomfort instantly. But then came the withdrawals, and that's when the truth hit me. I wasn't bored, I was numb. Constant stimulation had numbed my ability to sit with myself, to reflect, to simply be. And once I removed the noise, something unexpected began to happen. I read more in 1 week than I had in the last month. I went on long walks, no music, no phone, just the sound of my breath and the wind through the trees. I journaled with depth. I had richer conversations with people I care about. My focus improved. My anxiety dropped. My sleep deepened. And most importantly, my sense of presence returned. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't reacting to the world. I was responding on my terms. The Stoics weren't anti-pleasure. They weren't monks in caves. They didn't hate the world. They trained themselves not to be enslaved by it. And that's what this is about. Not hating your phone, not swearing off technology, but reclaiming your freedom. Because the most valuable thing you have isn't your money or your time, it's your attention. And where your attention goes, your life follows. When you're always consuming, you never create. When you're always reacting, you never reflect. And when your world is filtered through screens, you miss the clarity that comes from real life, the sunlight, the silence, the stillness. So here's your challenge. Set aside just 1 hour a day. No screens, No distractions, no noise. Let your mind breathe. Let it wander. Let it reset. Go for a walk. Read. Journal. Sit in silence. Do absolutely nothing and pay attention to what comes up. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. That's a good sign. It means you're waking up. It means your brain is returning to its natural rhythm, one not dictated by algorithms or notifications, but by clarity, reflection, and will. Digital detox isn't punishment, it's preparation. It's how you create mental space for what matters. It's how you train your mind to be calm in a chaotic world. And in a time where attention is constantly being stolen, the man who can sit in silence is dangerous because he sees clearly, he thinks independently, and he chooses his actions with purpose. After 7 days, I didn't feel like I had changed the world, but I had changed the way I showed up in it. My morning was no longer chaos, it was calm. My body didn't feel sluggish, it felt capable. My mind wasn't scattered, it was clear. I wasn't perfect, but I was awake. And in a world asleep in distraction, being awake is already rare. Being intentional? That's revolutionary. These 5 habits didn't fix everything, but they cracked something open. They reminded me that transformation isn't a single moment. It's a decision repeated daily in silence when no one's watching. That's the fire Stoicism lights, and it doesn't burn out. It burns through. In just 7 days, I didn't become perfect, but I became present. I didn't fix my life, but I stopped hiding from it. And that's where the real change began. I became aware of how often I lived on autopilot, aware of how many moments I was letting slip away while chasing the next notification, the next escape, the next distraction. I realized I didn't need a 5-year plan. I needed a 5-minute act of courage. I didn't need more information. I needed more execution. These 5 habits didn't just give me structure. They gave me back my strength. They reminded me that I'm not a victim of the world unless I choose to be. That every day I wake up, I have 2 options: repeat or reclaim. You don't need a new life. You need new habits. Habits that strip away the noise. Habits that sharpen your mind. Habits that make you dangerous. Not to others, but to the version of yourself that's afraid, scattered, and easily shaken. So here's your invitation. Don't try to change everything. Don't chase motivation. Just pick one habit. Practice it every day, no matter what mood you're in. Make it your anchor, your foundation, and watch who you become in 7 days. Because every time you show up for yourself, when it's inconvenient, when it's uncomfortable, when nobody's watching, you build something no one can take from you. Inner power, calm strength, stoic fire. And that's what this channel is about. Not hacks, not trends, but timeless transformation from the inside out. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. So let's be one, not in theory, but in practice. In the morning, at the table, in the silence, when no one sees. That's where Stoicism lives. That's where your power begins. If this spoke to something deep inside you, if you felt something shift, don't keep it to yourself. Share this with someone who needs a reset. Someone who's tired of being tired. Someone ready to reclaim their fire. Drop a comment. Which Stoic habit will you start today? Let's build a community of action, not just ideas. And if you haven't already, subscribe. This is just the beginning. We've got more coming, real, raw, and relentless. Thank you for watching. Stay grounded, stay disciplined, stay strong, stay stoic.